Today I'm leading a ride, so we're heading down to Eastbourne on the south coast of the UK. Just getting my tyre pressures right. Got those Gravel Kings on there. Tubeless setup. I normally set my PSI to something between 40 and 50 depending on how much road and how much kind of gravelly, destroyed Tory roads that haven't been repaired for years like these ones here in Crawley. So I headed over to Three Bridges where I was leading the CTC group. So we ended up with about 8 riders that wanted to head south to Eastbourne, and the idea being to get a train back at the end, so a one-way route, which meant we got that sort of 50 miles out, which was nice to get some different terrain on the way. And this is us heading over to Turners Hill, where we met up with one of our members, Ros, who comes from East Grinstead. So one of the things about our rides is that sometimes we may bump into people, well, not bump into them, but organise to see them en route if they're coming from different areas. So Ros was here at the Crown in Turners Hill. We're part of Cycling UK, which is over 120 years old as a charity club, and as a group we meet between Three Bridges and Horsham, alternating between both locations. So we're open to new members, and our riders are of mixed experience and skills, but generally we never go faster than the slowest person in the group, so newcomers are always welcome, and we take our time, and it's about the social and also the experience of just seeing the sights, which is a lot of fun to get around through the countryside and just enjoy each other's company and the surroundings. So quick map check. That's the south coast of the UK. We're south of London in a place called Crawley we're starting from. In fact, we started from Three Bridges station in Crawley, and the idea was to head out first sort of east and southerly, and then eventually head down to Eastbourne. A one-way trip, so we would cycle out about 80 kilometres and then actually get the train back to make it a sort of a fun day trip where we could get some distance in. As usual, my GPX map link is in the description below, and those first roads that we took that headed out to West Hoathley, Sharpthorne, and then up through this area of the Ashdown Forest and towards Crowborough before we headed south, they were tended to be slightly faster roads just because I wanted to get out east and get some distance behind us. So rather than doing too many windy back roads, we I weighted the ride with the bigger, faster roads at the start, and then as we started to head south, we got a little bit more windy, quiet road. So it was a ride where we had quite a lot of cars and traffic initially, but they slowly sort of filtered away as we headed further south towards the coast. Just before we got directly to the south down here at Beachy Head, which is this section before Eastbourne, we had a nice gravel section before West Dean and the climb up towards the Beachy Head. Eventually, though, we had to go to Polegate because the trains were cancelled out of Eastbourne with a bus replacement between Eastbourne and Polegate, so slight adjustment to route to cycle up to Polegate before we got that train back. So here we have some of those earlier sections as we head out of Crawley towards East Grinstead via Turners Hill, and you can just see there's a lot more traffic at this point. Some of these roads down through West Hoathley and Sharpthorne are a little bit on the busier side, but eventually it began to open up again and get a little bit quiet as we headed off the main roads onto the back lanes. Here I'm being directed around because I was leading the ride and not doing very good from the back, but quite often we're flexible like that anyway. We shift around a little, so I might be leading, but when people know where we are on the road, someone can speed past you. You don't have to be at the front the whole time, but obviously as you start to come up to junctions, as a ride leader I need to get out to indicate where people need to go on the route. GoPro demonstrating there that it's not a wildlife camera, and a deer that felt like it was an arm's length away looked like it was about a mile away in the field, but it was great to see it in the flesh, or in the fur, so to speak. One of our group here had a puncture on the rear. I think I even saw the flint that they accidentally drove over, and it was a classic case of the instant flat. It was a blowout essentially with a very sharp flint, almost like a pyramid on the floor. The back wheel went over it, burst a hole, and obviously didn't leave itself behind, but did cause an instant flat. So that was 10 minutes where we all got together just to sort out that puncture before we headed on.
you're Winnie the Pooh.
That's the Winnie the Pooh.
You know you're Winnie the Pooh? Yeah. This is the French Duck Square.
So what's the car park name? If I want to go back?
First of all, he gives the machine the command to switch on.
Oh, that one's a bit shy.
Here, pop that young one.
That little young one there.
At this laboratory in Cambridge, very thin transparent sections will be cut from the moon rock and examined through a polarizing microscope.
Some beef to eat. Come on.
Yeah, we might have beef burgers.
There you go.
Now we are A's or B's, C1s, C2s, D's or E's. You and I and everyone has his proper place and a letter beside his name.
Terminal is linked to a giant brain 10 miles away in the heart of London. It's one of 2 Malik has installed for experimental purposes, because he wants to know if they can run his life and his home for him. They're simple to operate, and experts predict that in 20 years' time, all new houses will be built with special computer points, and the terminals will be cheaper to rent than today's telephones.
Stopping! So we're getting well over towards being south of Crowborough, and our easterly direction began to sort of drop towards the south here. And some of the roads are fantastic here, really were much quieter. Good quality as well actually for this sort of area around Crowborough to the south of it. Still had the potholes here and there, but generally nice quality roads, probably just less frequently used than those around the more central and west areas of Sussex as we're heading East Sussex at this point.
Mr. Malik says it has helped Nicholas to read and count. It's an expensive way to do sums, at least £30 per week a terminal. But Rex Malik sees a future world where children could be virtually educated by computer.
Well, at this point, the weather changed as well. We went from quite chilly, late May UK weather where it was quite blustery and chilly, but then it sort of opened up as we got further south. Weather definitely improved, so that really made for a good day because we were warming up as we were working our way through. And again, these nice downhills south of Crowborough, fantastic bit of route. So if you've not done it, check the route out in the description so you can download the GPX file, because it's some fantastic roads here south of Crowborough.
17, 18, 19, all I thought about was getting married and having children. I thought it was going to be the most fantastic thing in the world.
We haven't prepared any script. We're at the moment discussing a list of places that we thought we'd take you to.
Arriving now at our pub destination. So this was about halfway down towards the south coast when we stopped at a pub. I'd pre-booked, kind of estimated the time we'd got there, and strangely enough we arrived almost dead on time, even with the puncture. So this is the King's Head. It was great pub food, and we enjoyed a beer as well while we're here, so it was a great little stop-off point in a nice village of East Hoathly. This stunning motorbike arrived when we were there, and the smell of it was just as good as the noise. It must be World War I period, or 1920s at most. AJS, never heard of it before. If you know what it is, please comment. But stunning bike. I thought I had a quick look around that motorised version of our own bikes.
Car. Oh, there's a roundabout. Going round the roundabout. Oh, you broke the rules. Yeah, I will. That's it. Reported. Yeah.
This is one of my favourite sections, when you get close enough that you can see the South Downs. You're in a kind of a flat valley area before the South Downs, a lot of farmland sort of nestled up against the edge of the South Down hills. Some nice little trails to go through here, plus that lovely view that sort of opens up so you can see out to the downs there, before we have to finally climb them to get up to the Beachy head. So this is the approach to Berlin Gap, one of my favourite places on the planet. Unfortunately today, despite the beautiful weather, there was a lot of cars. That's what you get the weekend. It's nice coming down maybe during the week, slightly off season, if you get a blue sky and there's no other vehicles around. Or just a few cars in the car park, it's not too bad. But it was a little bit busier today. But still quite quiet, really. Still a beautiful place to come, and you can see the sea down there. And on the left is the climb up fast the lighthouse towards Beachy Head. So that's Beachy Head there now that we're coming up towards past Berlin Gap. And of course we stopped for the obligatory ice cream on the top, paused the ride and got ready for a sit down. Very breezy up here actually, it was actually really strong wind. So strong, you can see those clouds sort of rushing over the top there and people's clothing and things blowing about. It did get very stormy feeling and a little bit cooler as well, and you can see here as we were heading off the Beachy Head at this stage, it did get cooler and we were putting our jackets on, getting ready for the descent into Eastbourne, and the weather took a slight turn. It wasn't as bright and sunny as it was on our way up there. Still pleasant enough though for a May day. So we ended up diving down there into Eastbourne at high speed, but then had to head out of Eastbourne to Polegate, only the next station on the line from Eastbourne, and there was a bus replacement from Eastbourne up to Polegate. Obviously we just cycled up to Polegate, dropped our bikes on the train, had to take a train to Brighton is the one that we did, otherwise there would have been a longer wait. We just thought we'd get on there, and this is us back at Three Bridges using our sensible upright bike position to get ourselves down in the lift at Three Bridges, and that was a bit of fun just at the last moment. So really enjoyed leading this ride, felt like a fun route and nice to have that steep climb at the end. Shame about there not being a train at Eastbourne for us right at the end, so we had to sort of dive off up to Polegate, but we all got back in reasonable time. And great to make use of these sort of one-way routes sometimes, where you either get a train out or you cycle out and then you get the train back, and just a lot of fun really to be able to make a longer distance of the day but still feel like you've travelled somewhere. Thanks for listening in.